I sat frozen in that leather booth, the burgundy upholstery suddenly feeling like a coffin's lining. The security guard, a weathered man in his 60s, with salt and pepper hair and eyes that had seen too much, leaned closer than strangers normally do. "Sir," he whispered, his breath smelling faintly of peppermint. "I saw him pour something into your coffee. The world didn't stop. That's what they get wrong in the movies." The world kept spinning. The pianist in the corner continued his Chopin nocturne. The couple 3 tables over laughed at some private joke. The waiter balanced a tray of champagne flutes with practiced grace. But my world, the small universe contained within my chest, collapsed into a singularity of cold, sharp understanding. I looked down at the cup. Steam still rose from the dark liquid, curling like ghost fingers in the amber light of the restaurant's chandelier. My reflection stared back at me from the coffee's surface, distorted, broken into ripples I hadn't created. What would you do if the person you loved most tried to end you? That's the question I couldn't have answered that morning when I woke up to celebrate my 70th birthday. But I can answer it now. 20 minutes earlier, I'd walked into Marcello's with a smile that felt genuine for the first time in months. The restaurant was Anna's choice. Upscale Italian, the kind of place where the waiters wear black ties and know the wine list better than most sommeliers know their own children. My daughter had called me 3 days before. "Dad, Liam and I want to take you out for your birthday. Somewhere special. Anna, my Anna, 28 years old, with her mother's amber eyes and my stubborn chin. The little girl who used to climb into my lap during thunderstorms, who graduated summa cum laude from Cornell, who held my hand at her mother's funeral and whispered, 'We still have each other, Daddy.' Except lately, we didn't. She'd been distant since introducing me to Liam 6 months ago. Phone calls became shorter. Sunday dinners became bi-weekly, then monthly. Then, 'I'll text you when we're free, Dad.' The warmth in her voice had been replaced by something I couldn't name, something that made my stomach tighten whenever I heard her say his name. Liam Bennett, 35, investment banker, Yale-educated, perfectly pressed suits, and a smile that belonged in a toothpaste commercial. The kind of man who calls everyone buddy and shakes hands too firmly, trying to prove something nobody asked about. When they arrived that evening, Anna kissed my cheek, quick, perfunctory. Liam's handshake felt like a test I was meant to fail. "Looking good, old-timer," Liam said, flashing those unnaturally white teeth. 70, huh? That's a hell of a milestone. Old-timer. Not sir. Not even my name. I swallowed the irritation and smiled. We sat at a corner booth with a view of the city lights. Anna immediately checked her phone. Liam ordered wine without asking what I preferred. A Barolo that cost more than most people's car payments. "Only the best for family," he said, winking at Anna. She didn't look up from her phone. The waiter arrived with 2 birthday cakes. One, a perfect chocolate ganache creation with "Happy Birthday, David" in elegant script. The other slightly lopsided with burnt edges around the base. He looked embarrassed. "My apologies, sir. The kitchen. There was a mix-up. We'll bring out a fresh one." "No need," I said quickly. "Both are fine." But I noticed Liam smirking at the burnt cake, and I noticed Anna finally putting down her phone to stare at it too. Her expression, unreadable. Even then, some part of me knew, some animal instinct, the same one that helped me survive 40 years in business, whispered, "Something is wrong. You need to understand something about Anna and me." It wasn't always complicated. Her mother, Catherine, died when Anna was 12. Ovarian cancer, stage 4, by the time they caught it. 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. I held Catherine's hand as she made me promise to take care of our baby girl, to make sure she had everything, to be both parents if I had to be. I kept that promise. I sold my partnership in the consulting firm to be home more. I learned to braid hair from YouTube videos. I attended every parent-teacher conference, every soccer game, every piano recital where she played Beethoven with more passion than precision. When she wanted to study architecture at Cornell, I didn't blink at the tuition. I'd built my business from nothing. I could afford to give her the world. And I did. The down payment on her apartment in Brooklyn, the car when she graduated, the seed money when she wanted to start her own design firm. Too much, my brother had warned. You're going to spoil her, David. She needs to learn the value of, but he didn't understand. He had 3 kids and a wife. He had a complete family. All I had was Anna. The first time she brought Liam home, 8 months ago, he made a joke about the family photos on my mantle. Wow, a whole shrine to Anna, he'd laughed. Bet you were one of those dads who scared away all the high school boyfriends with a shotgun, huh? Something in his eyes when he said it wasn't friendly. It was evaluating, calculating. Anna had laughed too, but it sounded wrong, forced, like she was performing for him. That's when the distance started. Missed calls, short texts instead of long conversations. The way she'd mention his name constantly. Liam thinks, Liam says, Liam wants. And then, 3 months ago, she'd asked about my will. We were having coffee, actual coffee, at her apartment. She was distracted, kept glancing at her bedroom door where Liam was supposedly working. Dad, have you updated your estate plan recently? The question came out of nowhere, sharp as a paper cut. Why do you ask? Just, Liam thinks, she caught herself. I mean, I was just wondering. You're getting older, and with the business assets, the properties, it should all be organized, right? I told her everything was in order, that she was the sole beneficiary, as she'd always been, that one day, when I was gone, she'd inherit the commercial properties in Manhattan, the investment portfolios, the beach house in the Hamptons, everything Catherine and I had built. Her face did something complicated when I said that. Relief and something else, something that looked almost like guilt. I kept telling myself, she's still my little girl. Even when she stopped calling me Dad, she'd started calling me David around Liam, as if our relationship was negotiable, something that could be rebranded for a new audience. Back in the restaurant, the tension grew with each course. The butternut squash soup arrived. Anna barely touched hers. Liam ate with aggressive enthusiasm, complimenting everything too loudly, dominating the conversation with stories about his latest real estate deal. So, I told the seller, look, buddy, you can wait for a better offer, but we both know this market's gonna crash, he said, gesturing with his soup spoon. Psychology, you know. Make them think they're losing out. I nodded politely, watching my daughter fidget with her mother's necklace, a simple gold chain with a small diamond pendant. Catherine gave it to her the week before she died. Anna never took it off. Until recently, I'd noticed it missing the last few times I saw her. But tonight, she wore it. For me, I realized. She wore it for me because she knows I'd notice. The thought made my chest ache. When the main course came, osso buco for me, sea bass for Anna, steak for Liam, he kept checking his watch 3 times in 10 minutes. Expecting someone? I asked lightly. What? No, just, time flies. His smile was plastic. Anna's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then at Liam. Something passed between them, a look I wasn't meant to understand. Then came the coffee. The waiter presented it with a small flourish. A cappuccino for Anna, espresso for Liam, and for me, a French press of their house blend. Dark and aromatic. Your favorite, sir, the waiter said. As requested by the young lady, Anna had remembered. That small detail hurt more than anything else that night. Liam raised his espresso cup. A toast to David. 70 years of being a father. The pause before being a father felt deliberate, like there was another phrase he'd swallowed, We clinked cups. I raised the coffee to my lips, and that's when I noticed. The taste was off. Not bad, exactly. Just different. A faint bitterness beneath the usual roasted notes. Something chemical and wrong. I set it down, pretending to let it cool. That's when Anna said she needed to use the restroom. Liam mumbled something about checking his car. Parking enforcement, he claimed. And for 90 seconds, I sat alone at that table, staring at my coffee cup and trying to ignore the voice in my head that whispered, "Something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong." In the corner, a security camera blinked its red recording light. I should have known then, but fathers are stupid when it comes to their daughters. We believe in second chances long after the first chance is dead and buried. The check came to $487. I didn't blink. I'd spent more on single bottles of wine when Catherine was alive, when celebrations meant something. I stood to pay at the counter. Old habit from my father. Never make the waiter chase you down. And that's when the security guard appeared at my elbow. He was my age, maybe older, deep lines around his eyes, the kind you get from smiling or squinting into too much darkness. His name tag read Marcus. "Sir," he said quietly, glancing over his shoulder toward my table. "I don't mean to intrude, but..." He hesitated. In that hesitation, I saw a whole moral calculus playing out. Mind your business versus do the right thing. Self-preservation versus conscience. "But what?" I prompted, my heart beginning to race. Marcus leaned closer, his voice dropping to barely a whisper. "I saw that young man pour something into your cup. The coffee. When the young lady got up, he took out a small envelope, emptied it into your drink, stirred it with your spoon. The restaurant sounds receded. The clatter of dishes, the murmur of conversations, the tinkling piano, all of it compressed into a single ringing note in my ears. You're certain?" "Yes, sir. I've been doing security for 30 years. I know when I'm watching a crime." I looked down at my hands. They weren't shaking yet, but they would be. In my head, the dinner replayed like a film reel. Anna's distraction, Liam's watch checking, the convenient bathroom breaks, the way they'd both encouraged me to drink. "Come on, Dad. It's getting cold. Don't you like it? I ordered it special for you. Can you show me the footage?" My voice sounded calm. Strange how calm I sounded. Marcus nodded. "Follow me." As I walked toward the security office, I passed my table. The coffee cup sat there, innocent and deadly, steam still rising, like an offering to indifferent gods. What would you do if the person you loved most tried to end you? I was about to find out. The security office was small, a converted storage closet with 3 monitors showing different angles of the restaurant. Marcus pulled up the footage from 20 minutes earlier, his thick fingers surprisingly nimble on the keyboard. "Here," he said, pointing to the timestamp. "Watch table 7. I watched. The camera angle captured our booth from above and to the side. I saw myself sitting alone, checking my phone. Then Liam returned from his supposed parking check, sliding into the booth across from me. He glanced around, casual, like he was just taking in the restaurant ambiance. His hand went to his jacket pocket. Out came a small envelope, white, no bigger than a sugar packet. In one smooth motion, he tore it open and emptied the contents into my coffee cup. A quick stir with my spoon. The envelope disappeared back into his pocket. The whole thing took less than 10 seconds. "Jesus," I breathed. "Wait," Marcus said. "Keep watching." Anna returned from the bathroom. She slid into the booth next to Liam, and that's when I saw it. The look she gave him. Not surprise, not horror. She glanced at my coffee cup, then at him, and gave the smallest nod. She knew. The thought didn't land like a bomb. It landed like poison itself, slow, creeping, spreading through my veins until every memory was contaminated. Every hug, every "I love you," Every moment I'd believed we were still father and daughter. "Sir?" Marcus's voice seemed to come from very far away. "Should I call the police?" I stared at the frozen frame on the monitor. My daughter's face, illuminated by the restaurant's soft lighting, beautiful and monstrous, all at once. "No," I heard myself say. "I'll handle this." Marcus studied me for a long moment. "Sir, if that's what I think it is, I said quietly. "But the police will ask questions. They'll need tests, evidence, time I don't have. So what will you do?" I looked at him, this stranger, who'd shown more loyalty in 5 minutes than my own blood had shown in months. "I'm going to let them poison themselves." I returned to the table with my credit card and a smile that felt like broken glass in my mouth. "Sorry about that," I said, sliding back into the booth. "Thought I saw an old colleague at the bar." Liam barely looked up from his phone. Anna managed a weak smile. My coffee sat exactly where I'd left it, now lukewarm and deadly. "You didn't finish your coffee, Dad," Anna said. There was something in her voice, forced cheerfulness over something darker. "I ordered it special." "I know, sweetheart. I was just letting it cool." I lifted the cup, brought it to my lips, and watched Liam's eyes track the movement with predatory focus. His hand tightened on his phone. Then I set it down. "Actually, I think I need the restroom myself. Age, you know. The bladder isn't what it used to be." I laughed, self-deprecating, playing the old fool they clearly thought I was. As I stood, I stumbled slightly, deliberate, clumsy. My hand knocked against Liam's water glass, sending ice skittering across the table. "God, sorry, so clumsy." I grabbed napkins, making a show of cleaning up the minor spill. In the chaos, my other hand moved with practiced precision, the same precision that had negotiated million-dollar deals, the same steady control I'd used to sign Catherine's DNR when the time came. I switched the cups. It took less than 3 seconds. My poisoned coffee went to Liam's side of the table. His untouched espresso came to mine. "Be right back," I said cheerfully. In the bathroom, I locked myself in a stall and called 911. "I need to report an attempted poisoning at Marcello's restaurant," I said calmly. "The victim doesn't know yet. Send paramedics, but keep them 2 blocks away until I call again. 5 minutes, maybe less." The dispatcher tried to ask questions, but I hung up. Then I called my lawyer, Marcus Weinstein, who'd been handling my affairs for 30 years. "Marcus, I need you to do something for me, and I need you to do it without asking why." "David, it's almost 9 at night." "I know. Listen carefully." I gave him instructions. When I finished, there was a long silence. "You're sure about this?" he asked finally. "I've never been more sure of anything." "All right, I'm on it." I washed my hands, cold water, methodical, watching my reflection in the mirror. The man looking back at me had aged a lifetime in 30 minutes. The birthday boy who'd walked in believing his daughter still loved him was gone. In his place stood someone harder, someone who'd survived worse than poison. He wanted me gone, but he forgot. I built empires on deals more ruthless than this. When I returned to the table, Liam had moved my coffee directly in front of my seat. Helpful of him. I sat down, picked up the espresso cup, and took a sip. It was cold, bitter, and blessedly clean. "Much better," I said. We sat in awkward silence for another minute. Anna checked her watch. Liam scrolled his phone, but I could see his eyes flicking up to me every few seconds. Waiting. How long does it take? I wondered. How long before symptoms show? "So," I said conversationally, "I've been thinking about my estate planning." Liam's head snapped up. Anna went very still. "Oh," Liam said, trying for casual and missing by miles. "Yes, actually, I've been meaning to tell you both. I'm considering some changes, substantial ones." Anna's fingers found her mother's necklace. Changes? Well, I'm 70 now. Time to think about legacy, about what I'm leaving behind. I smiled at her. I want to make sure it goes to people who actually care about me, not just about what I'm worth. The words hung in the air like smoke. Liam's face went red. That's a pretty fucked up thing to say, David. We're here celebrating your birthday, and you're implying— I'm not implying anything, Liam. I'm stating facts. I kept my voice level, almost gentle. I'm stating that I know exactly what's in my coffee cup. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. Anna's face drained of color. Dad, what are you— The security guard saw you, I said to Liam. Saw you empty that envelope. Saw you stir my drink. Liam tried to laugh. It came out strangled. That's insane. I don't know what you're talking about. And I saw you, I said to Anna. My voice cracked on her name. On the footage. The way you looked at him after. The way you knew. Tears spilled down her cheeks. But I couldn't tell if they were real or performed. Did it matter anymore? Dad, please let me explain. What's there to explain, Anna? That you needed my death more than you needed your father? That's pretty clear. Liam stood abruptly. We're leaving. Come on, Anna. But Anna didn't move. She stared at her coffee. Liam's coffee, really? The one I'd switched. Sitting untouched in front of her. What did you do, Dad? She whispered. I did what you taught me to do. I looked out for myself. Then I picked up the poisoned cup, the one now at Liam's place setting, and held it out to him. But, before you go, why don't you finish your coffee? Liam, you barely touched it, and it would be rude to waste it, wouldn't it? His eyes went to the cup, to me, to Anna, and that's when he understood. You didn't, he breathed. Didn't what? Switch the cups when I accidentally spilled that water? Didn't give you a taste of your own medicine? I smiled. Would that make me a bad person, Liam? Or just a careful one? He lurched for the cup, but I pulled it back. Anna, I said softly, if you want to prove you weren't part of this, really part of this, drink it. She looked at me with her mother's eyes. Dad, I can't— Because it's poisoned, I finished. Because you know exactly what's in it? The restaurant had gone quiet. Other diners were staring now. The pianist had stopped playing. Anna reached for the cup with shaking hands. Anna, no. Liam grabbed her wrist. Let her go, I said. Let's see just how committed she is to her choice. In that moment, watching my daughter choose between confession and complicity, I finally saw the truth. She was crying, real tears now, ugly and desperate, but she was also reaching for that cup because she thought it was mine. She thought I'd switch them back. She thought she was proving her innocence by being willing to drink unpoisoned coffee. I let her take it, let her bring it almost to her lips. Then I said, Marcus, you can call the ambulance now. The security guard appeared at our table, phone already in hand. Ambulance is 2 blocks away, sir. They're pulling up now. Liam went pale. What? Why would you? Because I'm not a murderer, I said quietly. Unlike you. I pulled out my own phone and set it on the table, screen facing up. The recording app showed 8 minutes, 47 seconds of audio. I've recorded everything you've said since I got back from the bathroom, including your panic when I mentioned the switched cups, including you trying to stop Anna from drinking. I looked at Liam. A lawyer would call that consciousness of guilt. You can't record us without consent. Actually, New York is a one-party consent state. I can record any conversation I'm part of. My lawyer is already filing this with the police. Sirens grew louder outside. Through the restaurant's windows, I could see the flash of red and blue lights. Anna was sobbing openly now, the coffee cup fallen from her hands, dark liquid spreading across the white tablecloth like a stain that would never come out. Dad, please, you have to understand. Liam said you were cutting me out of the will. He said you were giving everything to charity, that we'd have nothing. So, you decided to speed up the process? No, I didn't. I thought he was just going to make you sick. Just sick enough that you'd need care, that I'd have to take over your affairs, and then we could—" She choked on the words. Could what? Drain my accounts before I recovered? Put me in a facility? I leaned forward. Anna, what did you think was in that envelope? She couldn't answer, because she'd never asked. She'd trusted Liam more than she trusted me. The police entered. 2 officers, then paramedics with a stretcher. Marcus, the security guard, handed them a USB drive. Complete footage from 3 different angles, time-stamped and unedited. One of the officers approached our table. We need everyone to stay calm. Sir, are you the one who called in the poisoning? I am. This man, I pointed to Liam, attempted to poison me. There's video evidence, and I have the poisoned cup right here. I carefully lifted the coffee cup with a napkin. I haven't touched the liquid. You should be able to test it. Liam tried to run. He made it 3 steps before the officers had him on the ground, hands cuffed behind his back. That's assault, he shouted. I didn't do anything. It's his word against mine. Actually, said Officer Rodriguez, reviewing the security footage on Marcus's monitor, it's video evidence against your word. And guess which one holds up better in court? They read him his rights as they hauled him to his feet. Liam was still screaming about lawyers and false arrest when they walked him out. The restaurant's other patrons watched in stunned silence. Someone was recording on their phone. By tomorrow, this would be all over social media. Elderly man outsmarts his would-be killers. The thought should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like amputation. And you, miss, Officer Chen said to Anna, we need to ask you some questions. Anna looked at me with desperate eyes. Dad, tell them I didn't know what he was planning. Please. She knew, I said quietly. The video shows her acknowledging what he did. She gave him a nod. That's not... I wasn't. Anna's voice broke. I thought it was just laxatives. He said he was just going to embarrass you, make you seem senile in front of people so I could take guardianship. Laxatives, I repeated. The word tasted like ashes. And you thought that was acceptable? To humiliate your father on his birthday. The paramedics were testing the coffee now, using some kind of field kit. One of them looked up sharply. Sir, this is definitely contaminated. We need to get you checked out. I didn't drink it. Still, if you handled the cup, I'll be fine. Test them instead. I gestured to Anna and Liam. Make sure they didn't accidentally ingest any through contact. Because despite everything, I didn't want my daughter dead. I wanted her alive to understand what she'd done. The guard, Marcus, stepped forward and put a hand on my shoulder. Smart move, sir. You did the right thing. But as they led Anna away in handcuffs, not arrested yet, just detained for questioning, I wondered if there was any right thing left in this situation. The last thing I heard her say was, Daddy, please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The same words she'd said when she was 6 and accidentally broke Catherine's favorite vase. The same words that used to melt my heart. But some things, once broken, can't be fixed with apologies. 3 months later, I returned to Marcello's. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm a masochist. Maybe I needed to prove to myself that I could sit in that booth and not see ghosts. Marcus was still working security. He gave me a small nod as I entered. Table 7, sir? No, table 12. By the window. Different view, different angle, different man. The trial was set for spring. Liam was facing attempted murder charges. The coffee had contained enough digitalis to cause cardiac arrest in someone my age. Where he'd gotten it, how he'd known the dosage, those were questions his lawyer was trying to suppress. Anna had taken a plea deal. Conspiracy, accessory, before the fact. 3 to 5 years. Eligible for parole in 18 months. My lawyer said I could have fought it, could have testified on her behalf, painted her as a victim of Liam's manipulation. I didn't, because here's what I'd learned from going through her apartment with the police. The plan had been in motion for months. Text messages, Google searches, how to induce heart attack naturally, undetectable poisons, digitalis dosage for elderly men. She'd been active in every step. And the kicker? There was no will change. I'd never threatened to cut her out of anything. Liam had lied, and Anna had believed him because she wanted to, because inheriting $3 million in 5 years wasn't fast enough when you could have it now. The waiter approached. Different waiter, younger, didn't know my history. "What can I get you, sir?" I looked at the menu, at the coffee selection. French press, cappuccino, espresso, Americano. "Just water," I said. "Still water. Sealed bottle, please." "Of course, sir." As I waited, I watched the city lights reflect off the windows, creating a double exposure of the world, the real and the reflected, overlapping but never quite aligned. My phone buzzed, a number I didn't recognize. The text read, "Dad, it's me. They let me use the prison phone for approved contacts. I know you blocked my number. I know I don't deserve to talk to you, but I'm going to write you every week until you respond. I love you. I'm sorry. Please. Anna." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Because here's the thing about poison. It doesn't just kill the body. It kills trust. It kills the ability to look at someone you love and not see the moment they decided you were worth more dead than alive. Anna would write. She'd call. When she got out, she'd show up at my door with tears and explanations and begging. And maybe, years from now, I'd be able to hear it, without remembering the way she nodded to Liam after he poisoned my coffee. Maybe, but not today. The waiter brought my water, sealed bottle, as requested. I broke the seal myself, poured it into a clean glass, and took a sip. It tasted like nothing, like safety, like loneliness. "Sir?" A voice at my elbow. Marcus, the security guard. Off shift now, but still in uniform. "Mind if I join you for a moment?" "Please." He sat down heavily, the way men our age do when their knees ache. "How are you holding up?" he asked. "I'm alive. That's more than I should expect. You did the right thing, you know." Did I? Sometimes I wonder if I should have just drunk the coffee. Let it happen. At least then, I could have died believing my daughter loved me. Marcus was quiet for a moment. My daughter died when she was 16. Drunk driver. Some nights, I'd give anything to have her alive and angry with me, instead of perfect and gone. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I'm just saying. You chose truth over comfort. That takes strength most people don't have." He stood, straightened his uniform. "Anyway, I saw you come in. Wanted to check on you." "Thank you, Marcus." After he left, I sat alone for another hour, watching the restaurant fill and empty, watching strangers celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, watching the world continue on, like mine hadn't ended. Eventually, I paid my bill, just for the water, and left. As I reached the door, I paused at the small memorial wall by the entrance. Photos of regular customers who'd passed away. Little tributes from the staff. Someday, maybe, my photo would be there too. And when that day came, there'd be no one to grieve. No daughter to hold my hand, like I'd held Catherine's. No family to promise they'd remember. Just an old man who'd lived too long and trusted too much. The night air was cold as I stepped outside. Autumn in New York, my favorite season. The season Catherine and I got married. The season Anna was born. The season everything changed. I pulled my coat tighter and started walking toward the subway. Behind me, Marcello's glowed, warm and inviting, full of people who still believed in celebration. I envied them. The question haunts me at night. Would you forgive? Religious people talk about forgiveness like it's a moral imperative. Turn the other cheek. Forgive 70 times 7. Love your enemies. But what about your daughter? There's a difference between forgiving someone and pretending the betrayal never happened. There's a difference between mercy and suicide. Anna made a choice. She chose money over my life. And yeah, maybe Liam manipulated her. Maybe he lied. Maybe she was vulnerable and stupid and in love with the wrong person. But she still made the choice. She still nodded. People ask me, family, friends, my lawyer, the therapist I started seeing, if I'll visit her in prison, if I'll be there when she's released. I don't know. Some days I think about driving up to the facility, sitting across from her in that bleak visiting room, and asking her the questions that keep me up at night. When did you stop loving me? Was it before or after you Googled undetectable poisons? When you wore your mother's necklace that night? Was it guilt or costume? Other days, I think the kindest thing I can do for both of us is let her go. Let her serve her time, rebuild her life, and never darken my door again. Because maybe the real poison isn't digitalis. Maybe it's hope. The hope that people we love are incapable of hurting us. The hope that blood means loyalty. The hope that, at the end of the day, family is family and love wins. I don't have that hope anymore, and maybe that's the real death. Not the physical one I avoided, but the death of the man who believed his daughter was still his little girl. That man died in a restaurant booth, looking at grainy security footage of betrayal. What's left is someone harder, someone lonelier, someone who drinks only from sealed bottles and trusts only what he can verify. The therapist says, I'm depressed. The lawyer says I'm being practical. My brother says I'm being too harsh. But none of them were there when Anna's hand reached for that coffee cup, willing to let me drink poison, because $3 million was worth more than my life. So I'll ask you the question that haunts me. If your own blood betrayed you for money, would you forgive them or let them taste what they served? I chose option 3.